Interact with the device's operating system and save a contact to the device contacts. I've already created a form here in HTML that asks for the user's name, email, a phone number for home, and a phone number for work. I've also included a Save Contact button. Let's just take a quick look at this in a browser and make sure the form appears the way we intend it to. So we'll go ahead and open that in Google Chrome, and let's take a look there. We'll bring it in. And that looks about right. We've got the different fields. Looks like we've got two name fields. And that's because that second one shouldn't be name, but that should be email, just like that. There we go. Save and refresh. And now that's perfect. So we've got our labels, we've got our fields, and now we need to save this contact to the database. So first, let's go ahead and set up our script tags and make sure the device is ready. So we'll open our script tag here, close our script tag here, and on the document, we'll add an event listener. We're listening for the device ready event. And when the device ready event occurs, we're going to go ahead and call init, and we'll set that last argument to false. Now we'll go ahead and create our wrapper for that. So this runs on window.onload equals function, and then we have it wrapped just like that. So our window onload function is going to run when the device, or when the window loads. That's going to attach our device ready, and our device ready will run when the device is entirely ready. And here we can have function init. Now all we need to do in our init function in this case, make sure I spell that correctly. All we need to do in our init function in this case is attach to the button some event that actually saves the contact. So let's go ahead and get our button. We're going to use document get element by ID, of course, and the ID is save contact. We're going to add the event listener, listen for a click. You can use single or double quotes here. I'm going to be consistent, use the double quotes. And we'll call the save contact function, and again set the third argument to false. So now we have our save contact function. This will run when the button is clicked, and the first thing I want to do is save all of these elements here, all of these input values, to local variables. So I'll declare a variable called name, and I'll get the value from the name input. Name, and remember we need the .value attribute right here, or I should say .value property, in order to get the value or whatever the user has typed in here. All right, so let's also get the email set to a local variable. We'll set that value, and let's get the home phone. Just do that. And let's see, we called this phone home. Sometimes I like to copy and paste so I don't make an error inadvertently, and this will be phone work. I think we've got all of them now. So once we have everything set to a local variable, now we can start working with the contact structure within the operating system in order to save the actual contact. So to facilitate saving this on the device, I'm going to go ahead and create a contact object. We'll go ahead and call it contact for clarity. So what we do is we say var contact equals navigator dot contacts dot create. Oops, and let's go ahead and make sure that says contacts, not contracts. I have a habit of typing contracts instead of contacts. All right, so that creates the contacts object. Now, the contacts object has a number of properties that we could save, not just what we have here. For example, we have the contact's display name, nickname, phone numbers, emails, addresses, instant messages, etc. So we're just saving a subset of the information that can actually be saved in the contact object. We're going to be dealing first with the name. Now, when we deal with the name object, which is part of the contact object, we actually have fields for that. And that's family name, given name, middle name. So we can't actually save the name as one unit. So what we often need to do is separate the name into two different fields. Now, while often through the either iOS or Android operating system, it can treat the name as a full name, or what's called a formatted name, it's not a great idea to do that within the PhoneGap environment. There are just too many quirks. So we'll go ahead and make this one fname for first name, and this one lname for last name. And let's go ahead and make the appropriate changes up here to our variables. So now we're getting the first name field, and we're going to need to add the last name field here. And again, that's to facilitate saving the name correctly on the device. And we could add a middle name in here and an honorific like Mr. or Dr. or Mrs. Okay, so we've created the contact. We've separated the name into two separate units. So now we need to actually create the name object. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to say contact dot name dot family name, and this is the actual property, family name, and then I'm going to set that to fname. Now we also have the given name, that's the first name, so contact name given name, and that'll get the, I reversed these, this should be last name, and this should be first name. Given name is first name, family name is last name, just like everyone in your family usually has the same last name. Well, they may not, but you get the idea. So we also need to save now the email address. So the email property is interesting because on both the Android and the iOS operating system, you have the ability within a contact to save multiple email addresses. So it's actually emails is the field, and we can save an array in there of emails. So let's go ahead and actually create the array. We've only created the ability to save one in our application, but we could conceptually create an application that we could save more. So we'll call this emails. There, I've pluralized it. Well, actually, let's do it like this. So we create an array. So now I'm going to populate the emails array with a singular email address that we have. So this will be emails sub 0, first position in the array. Now, we actually populate it with what are called contact field objects. And a contact field object has three arguments. The first argument is the label for the email. So let's say it's a work email. I don't know. And then is the value, and this will come from the email address that's stored in the variable email. That's what the user typed in. And the third is whether or not this is the preferred email. So since there's only one, we're going to make it the preferred email. Once we've done that, then we can save to the contacts in the emails field the emails array that we just created. Now, luckily, we can review this again because phone numbers work the exact same way, and we did actually create two phone numbers, phone home and phone work. Make sure that's right there. We've got phone home, phone work. This should be phone work. You probably caught that a long time ago. We're waiting for me to catch it. All right, so we've got the phone numbers. Let's create the phone nums array, empty. And we'll create phone nums 0, again, as a new contact field. And the first phone number is the home phone number. And we get that from the phone h variable. And we'll make that one preferred. And the second member of the array, index 1, also a new contact field, is going to be the work number. Now, by the way, there's no preset labels here. We can have home, work, and their number on Mars if we want to. But the phone numbers will be labeled exactly how we have them here. All right, so now let's put in here the phone work variable. And this has to be set to false. You can only have one preferred phone number. So then we have to attach the phone numbers to the contact. I did it again. All right, there we go. So here, contact, and the field is phone numbers equals phone nums, which is the name of my array. So now we've added to the contact here the name object with the family name and given name. We've created an array of emails. We only have one email, but we created an array. We've added that to the contact. Then we created an array of phone numbers. We added both phone numbers and added that to the contact. So now that we've done all that, we've got to save the actual contact. So we'll save the contact with contact.save, which will save it to the device. All right, so now, if we haven't made any errors here, I'll be surprised, but it's time to test on the actual device. So let's go ahead and set up our environment. Just before I started to run this, I noticed a small problem. I had done the name object incorrectly. Here's the correct way to do it. We actually create here a name object out of the contact name class, and then we set the properties family name and given name like this. Then we save the name object to the contact just like that. This should work just fine. All right, so let's save this. And now we're going to go ahead and run this. I've got a Nexus 7 emulator going here. And we'll go ahead and click the debug. And I'm going to switch back to DDMS mode. This way, if there's an error, we'll see it down here in the logcat. I think I found the error, though, so I think we'll be okay. All right, so this should load our app here in just a second. Install it onto the device. Here we go. And we'll give it a try. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the information. There we go. First name. My last name. There's my real email. And here is not my real phone number. All right, let's go ahead and click Save. All right, didn't see an error that time. Everything looked good. So let's go ahead and now, let's go out into the main operating system of the device. Just click the back button there off screen. I know you can't see that. And let's go ahead and look in the contacts. And hey, there's the contact we just entered. Mark Lassoff with the phone number and the email address. So we've got